The message went out on a Tuesday morning. Sejin stood in the control room of Earth's first deep space communication station, watching the signal disappear into the black void of space. After 200 years of dreaming, humanity finally said hello to the universe. The message was simple: we are here. We are peaceful. We want to learn. Sejin smiled. He had worked 15 years for this moment. As Earth's lead diplomat, he believed this was the beginning of something beautiful. Humans would finally meet others like them. They would share knowledge, art, and culture. The stars would become their friends. He was wrong. 3 months later, they came. Not with greetings or open arms, but with weapons and warships. The sky above Seoul turned dark as massive alien vessels blocked out the sun. Sejin watched from his apartment window as the ships descended, their hulls glowing with strange lights. His phone rang. It was the Prime Minister. "They want to meet you. Get to the orbital station now." Sejin took a shuttle up to the station. His hands shook the entire journey. When he entered the meeting chamber, he saw them. Hundreds of aliens from different worlds, all gathered in one room. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of crystal. Some floated in tanks of liquid. Some had too many eyes. Some had none at all. At the center sat High Arbiter Vex. He was tall and made of something that looked like living diamond. His voice echoed through the chamber like breaking glass. "You called out to the galaxy. We heard you. The Galactic Council has reviewed your species. We have made our decision." Sejin felt hope rise in his chest. A decision? Maybe they would invite Earth to join them. Maybe they would offer technology, trade, friendship. Earth is now classified as a Class 3 resource colony, Vex continued. Your planet has valuable materials. Your people will work to extract them. You will serve the Council. The vote was taken. All 847 species agreed. Your enslavement begins today. The words hit Sejin like a physical blow. He could not breathe. Could not think. Enslavement? All of them voted? Every single species in this room agreed to make human slaves. But we reached out in peace, Sejin said, his voice breaking. We only wanted to meet you. To learn from you. Vex tilted his crystalline head. Peace is irrelevant. You are weak. We are strong. That is all that matters. Your military technology is primitive. Your weapons cannot harm our shields. Resistance will only make things worse. Surrender now and your species will survive. Fight and we will erase you completely. Sejin looked around the chamber. No one spoke against Vex, no one offered help. They all just stared at him with cold alien eyes. To them he was not a person. He was just a resource to be harvested. The coordinates for invasion have been transmitted to General Krex, Vex said. He will arrive within the week. Prepare your people. Your time as a free species is over. Sejin was escorted back to his shuttle in silence. As Earth came into view below, he saw the first explosions. They had already started. The invasion had begun. General Krex was a Drakkar, a reptilian species known across the galaxy as the Council's best warriors. He believed in honor and strength. When his fleet arrived at Earth, he expected an easy victory. Humans were primitive. They had just discovered faster-than-light travel. Their weapons were simple projectiles and nuclear bombs. Against his shields and plasma cannons, they would fall in hours. He was half right. The humans fell quickly, but not without screaming. The first city to burn was Tokyo. Krex's ships appeared in the sky and fired without warning. Entire blocks disappeared in seconds. Millions died before they even knew what was happening. Then came Moscow. Then Mumbai. Then New York, that in Seoul. Jiwon was having dinner with her parents when the sky turned red. She heard the explosion before she saw it. The building across the street simply vanished. Then the one next to it. Then the ground began to shake. Run, her father shouted. They ran. But they did not run fast enough. Jiwon woke up 3 days later in an underground hospital. Her parents were gone. Her home was gone. Most of Seoul was gone. She lay in that bed and stared at the ceiling. She did not cry. She could not. The tears would come later. Right now she felt only one thing: rage. When a military officer came to check on survivors, Jiwon grabbed his arm. I want to fight, she said. Teach me how to kill them. The officer looked at her. She was a pilot before the war. Civilian transport ships. She knew how to fly. That was enough. We can use you, he said. Follow me. While Jiwon joined the military, Admiral Minho was organizing what was left of Earth's defense forces. He gathered his commanders in a bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The situation was simple. They were losing. Badly. Our missiles bounce off their shields, one general reported. Our jets cannot reach their ships. Every time we engage them, we lose. They are too strong. Minho listened to report after report. Each one worse than the last. Millions dead. Cities destroyed. No way to fight back. But he did not despair. Instead, he thought, if they could not fight with strength, they would fight with intelligence. Bring me Dr. Hana, he ordered. Hana was a quantum physicist working at a research facility in Geneva when the invasion began. She escaped with her team and their most important equipment. Now she stood before Admiral Minho in the bunker, covered in dust and exhaustion. Can you study their technology? Minho asked. Can you find a weakness? Hana nodded. We captured some debris from a destroyed ship. I've been analyzing it. Their shields operate on a quantum frequency. If we can match that frequency and reverse it, we might be able to disrupt them. But I need time, and I need more samples. You will have both, Minho said. He turned to his commanders. New orders. We stop trying to win battles. Instead, we focus on two things, survival and learning. Hide our people, protect our scientists, steal everything we can from the enemy. Study it, copy it, improve it. They think we are primitive. Let them think that. While they celebrate their victory, we will prepare our revenge. The orders went out. Across the planet, human survivors went underground. They built hidden bases beneath cities, inside mountains, under the ocean. They watched the aliens take over the surface world. They watched as Earth's resources were harvested and shipped away. They watched as their enemies grew comfortable and lazy, and while the aliens celebrated their easy conquest, humans learned. They studied captured technology day and night. They tested weapons in secret. They trained soldiers in hidden facilities. They prepared. 6 months after the invasion, Hana made her breakthrough. She ran into Minho's office without knocking, her eyes wild with excitement. I found it, she said. I found the frequency. I know how to break their shields. Minho stood slowly. Show me. Hana pulled up holographic displays. Equations filled the air. She explained the science, but Minho only cared about one thing. It would work. How long to build a weapon using this? He asked. 2 months. Maybe less if we rush. Rush, Minho said. Above ground, General Krek sat in his command ship and drank victory wine. Earth was conquered. The humans were broken. In a few months, he would move on to his next assignment. This had been easy. Almost boring. He had no idea that beneath his feet, millions of humans were sharpening their knives and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The counterattack was coming. And when it arrived, the galaxy would learn a terrible lesson. Never underestimate the desperate. 2 years had passed since the invasion. On the surface, Earth looked defeated. Alien mining facilities covered the continents. Giant harvesters dug into mountains and drained oceans. The skies were filled with transport ships carrying stolen resources to distant worlds. General Krex watched it all from his command ship and smiled. Another successful conquest. But beneath the surface, in hidden bases carved from rock and ice, humanity was changing. They were no longer the peaceful species that sent greetings to the stars. They were becoming something else. Something dangerous. Jiwan stood in the hangar bay looking at her new fighter. It did not look like the civilian transport she used to fly. This machine was built from stolen alien technology and human innovation. It was faster, deadlier, and most importantly, invisible to alien sensors. You ready for this? Asked Taewon, her wingman. He was young, barely 20, but he had lost his entire family in the first week of the invasion. Like Jiwon, he fought because he had nothing left to lose. I have been ready for 2 years, Jiwon replied. Let's make them pay. She climbed into the cockpit. Around her, 20 other pilots did the same. They were the Ghost Squadron, humanity's first strike team. Their mission was simple. Hit the enemy hard, then disappear before they could fight back. Admiral Minho called it guerrilla warfare. Jiwan called it revenge. The fighters launched from an underground tunnel that opened in the middle of a forest. They flew low, using the terrain to hide from sensors. Their target was a supply convoy carrying weapons to the alien base near what used to be Paris. The convoy had 20 armed escorts. The aliens felt safe. They should not have. Jiwan's squadron appeared from nowhere. One moment the sky was empty. The next it was filled with human fighters. They fired quantum disruptors, the same weapons Dr. Hana had developed. The alien shields flickered and died. Then came the missiles. The convoy never had a chance. In 90 seconds, all 20 escort ships were destroyed. The supply carriers were left defenseless. Jiwan gave the order and they fired again. The carriers exploded, taking millions of credits worth of weapons with them. Ghost Squadron returned to base, Jiwan commanded. They vanished as quickly as they appeared, leaving only burning wreckage behind. When General Krex heard the report, he could not believe it. Impossible. Human weapons cannot penetrate our shields, but the evidence was clear. 20 ships destroyed, 0 human casualties. Something had changed. The humans were fighting back. While Jiwan fought in the skies, Dr. Hana worked in her laboratory beneath the Himalayas. She rarely slept anymore. Every minute spent sleeping was a minute not spent improving their weapons. Her team had grown from 5 people to 500. They worked around the clock, taking apart alien technology and rebuilding it better. The quantum disruptors were just the beginning. Now Hana was developing something far more dangerous. A virus that could infect alien computer systems. The Nathari, the insect-like species that supplied all the Council's technology, used a hive network to control everything. Every ship, every weapon, every drone was connected. If Hana could hack that network, she could control it all. It was a beautiful idea. It was also terrifying. Once released, the virus could not be stopped. It would spread through every Nathari system in the galaxy. Billions of drones would turn against their creators. Entire worlds would fall into chaos. Hana stared at the code on her screen. She had the power to destroy an entire civilization. All she needed was permission to deploy it. She thought about her ethics classes in university, about the value of life, about the line between defense and genocide. Then she remembered the billions of humans who died in the first wave. She remembered the cities turned to ash. She remembered that the Nathari voted to enslave her species. Every single one of them agreed. Her finger hovered over the save button. Then she pressed it. Admiral Minho reviewed the reports in his command center. Ghost Squadron's raids were working. They had destroyed 17 convoys, 12 mining facilities, and 3 command posts. Alien forces were starting to fear the darkness. They no longer traveled alone. They sent extra escorts for every mission. They were becoming paranoid. Good, Minho thought. Fear was a weapon too, but small victories were not enough. They needed something bigger. Something that would shake the entire Galactic Council. He called a meeting with his top commanders and Dr. Hana. "We are doing damage, but they still see us as insects," Minho said. "Annoying insects, but insects nonetheless. We need to show them we are more than that." "Dr. Hana, what is the status of your project?" Hana projected a hologram of the orbital shipyard that hung above Earth. The massive structure was where General Krex built and repaired his fleet. It was protected by hundreds of defense platforms and over 200 warships. It was considered untouchable. "I can disable their shields," Hana said. "All of them. At the same time. But only for about 5 minutes before they reboot their systems. If we are going to attack, it has to be fast and overwhelming." Minho looked at Jiwan. "Can Ghost Squadron destroy 200 ships in 5 minutes? Jiwan grinned. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had been waiting for this chance. "Give me 50 fighters and I will turn that shipyard into scrap metal. Then we attack tomorrow," Minho decided. "Prepare everything. This is our moment. We either prove we can fight or we die trying." The next day, General Krex was reviewing construction reports when his sensors detected something strange. A massive energy surge was building somewhere on Earth's surface. Before he could investigate, every shield on every ship went dark. "What is happening?" he roared. "Get those shields back online." But it was too late. Ghost Squadron burst from the clouds like angry hornets. 50 fighters against 200 warships. The math should have favored the aliens. But the aliens had shields. Now they did not. Jiwan led the assault. Her targeting computer locked onto the nearest warship and fired. The quantum disruptor hit the exposed hull and tore through it like paper. The ship exploded. Then the next one. And the next. Around her, the rest of Ghost Squadron did the same. They moved like a swarm, never staying in one place. The alien gunners tried to track them, but they were too fast, too precise, too angry. Krex watched his fleet die. Ship after ship burst into flames. His officers screamed orders, but nothing helped. In 4 minutes and 38 seconds, 200 warships were reduced to burning debris. The orbital shipyard, damaged beyond repair, began to collapse. Then, just as suddenly as they appeared, the human fighters vanished. Krex stood alone on his command deck, surrounded by alarms and emergency lights. His fleet was gone. His shipyard was gone. And worst of all, his pride was gone. For the first time in his long military career, General Krex felt fear. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. High Arbiter Vex stood before them, his crystalline face showing cracks of worry. Earth was supposed to be a simple conquest, one counselor said. You promised they were primitive. You said they had no chance. They were primitive, Vex replied. 2 years ago. But they learned. Faster than we thought possible. Then send more ships, another counselor demanded. Send the entire fleet. Crush them before they get stronger. But some counselors were not so sure. What if we cannot crush them? What if they keep learning? What if we just made the worst mistake in council history? On Earth, in a hidden base beneath the ruins of Sol, Jiwan removed her helmet and let out a breath she did not know she was holding. Her hands were shaking, not from fear, from excitement. They had done it. They had actually done it. Admiral Minho entered the hangar. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes gleamed with satisfaction. Well done, Captain. You just announced to the galaxy that humanity is not defeated. You showed them we can fight. You showed them we can win. What happens now? Jiwan asked. Minho smiled. A cold, dangerous smile. Now we show them what happens when you try to enslave humanity. Dr. Hana has finished her virus. Tomorrow we release it into the Nathari network. Within a week the Council will lose half its military strength. Within a month they will be begging us to stop. And will we stop? Jiwan asked. Minho's smile faded. That depends. Are you satisfied with just defending Earth? Or do you want to make sure no species ever tries this again? Jiwan thought about her parents. About her home. About the billions who died for no reason other than being seen as weak. She thought about the 847 species who all agreed to enslave her people. I want them to remember, she said quietly. I want every species in this galaxy to look at Earth and feel afraid. I want them to know what happens when you hurt us. Minho nodded. Then we understand each other. The counterattack has just begun. By the time we are finished, the Galactic Council will not exist, and humanity will stand above them all. In her laboratory, Dr. Hana prepared the virus for deployment. Her hands did not shake anymore. She had made her choice. Tomorrow, billions of Nathari drones would turn against their masters. It would be chaos. It would be destruction. It would be exactly what the Council deserved. She pressed the final button. The virus uploaded to a captured Nathari communications satellite. In 3 hours it would activate. And the galaxy would learn a terrible truth. Humanity was no longer prey. They were predators, and they were coming for everyone who voted to chain them. The virus spread faster than even Dr. Hana predicted. It jumped from one Nathari system to another like a plague. Within hours, it infected thousands of ships. Within days, millions of drones. Within a week, the entire Nathari civilization was collapsing. On the hive world of Nethar Prime, the Queen watched in horror as her drones turned on each other. They had always been perfect, always obedient. They moved as one mind, one purpose. But now that mind was broken, shattered. The drones fought each other in the streets. They destroyed factories. They attacked the Queens themselves. The Queen sent a desperate message to the Galactic Council. We are dying. Our network is corrupted. Please help us. But the Council could not help. They were too busy watching their own worlds burn, because the Nathari made everything. Every weapon. Every ship. Every piece of technology the Council used came from Nathari factories. And now those factories were silent. The supply lines were broken. The Council's military strength was bleeding away. High Arbiter Vex called an emergency meeting. His crystalline face showed deep cracks. Stress was breaking him literally. We must contact Earth, he said. We must negotiate. General Krex roared. With those primitives? Never. Send my fleet. I will burn their planet to ash. What fleet? Another counselor asked. Half your ships are broken. The other half have no weapons. The Nathari cannot make new ones. We are defenseless, then we build new weapons, Krex insisted. We use our own factories. That will take years, Vex replied. We do not have years. Earth is not waiting. They are coming. He was right. Earth's fleets were already moving. Admiral Minho had spent 5 years building ships in secret. Hundreds of them. All armed with reverse-engineered alien technology. All crewed by humans who had spent years learning to fight. Who had spent years dreaming of revenge. The first target was Taylor Prime, the homeworld of the Tellurians. The crystalline cities that once gleamed with pride now trembled under the weight of human warships. Minho stood on the bridge of his flagship looking down at the planet below. "Remember what they did," he said to his crew. "Remember how they voted. Remember how they laughed at us." His crew remembered. They all remembered. Every single human alive remembered. "Open fire," Minho ordered. The bombardment began. Not enough to destroy the planet. Minho did not want genocide. He wanted something else. He wanted them to understand, to feel what Earth felt, to know what it meant to be helpless. The crystalline towers shattered. The Grand Council chambers collapsed. The monuments to Tellurian greatness crumbled to dust. And through it all, High Arbiter Vex watched from his command bunker, unable to do anything. After an hour, Minho stopped the attack. He opened a communication channel directly to Vex. "I could destroy you," Minho said. "Completely. Your species would be erased from the galaxy, but I am not going to do that." "Do you know why?" Vex could not speak. His voice was broken by fear and shame. "Because I want you to live," Minho continued. "I want you to rebuild. I want you to remember this day forever. I want you to tell your children and your children's children about the day you tried to enslave humanity, and I want you to remember what happened next." The channel closed. The human fleet moved on to the next target. While Minho struck the Tellurians, Captain Jiwon led Ghost Squadron on a different mission. General Krex had retreated to the Barrier Nebula with what remained of his personal fleet. About 50 ships. All that was left of the mighty Drakkar Armada. Krex sent a message to the human forces. It was broadcast on all frequencies. He challenged Admiral Minho to single combat. One warrior against another. Winner takes all. The Drakkar believed in honor. They believed that true warriors fought face to face. They believed that strength proved righteousness. Krex expected Minho to refuse, to hide behind his fleet like a coward. Minho surprised him. He accepted. They met on a neutral asteroid. Both arrived in small shuttles. Both carried only basic weapons. The entire galaxy watched. This would be the moment that decided everything. If Krex won, humanity would lose its greatest leader. If Minho won, the Drakkar would surrender. They faced each other across the barren rock. Krex was massive, nearly 3 meters tall. His scales were like armor. His claws could cut through steel. Minho was just a man, normal size, normal strength. "You cannot win," Krex said. "I am a warrior. You are a strategist, a thinker. Combat is not your strength." "You are right," Minho replied. "Combat is not my strength, but survival is, and I will do anything to survive." The fight began. Krex charged with the confidence of 1,000 victories. Minho dodged. Krex swung his blade. Minho rolled away. Again and again, Krex attacked. Again and again, Minho avoided him. "Fight me!" Krex roared. "Stop running!" But Minho kept moving. He was studying, learning, finding weaknesses. Krex was strong but old. His movements were practiced but predictable. He followed patterns learned over centuries of combat. Humans did not fight with honor. They fought to win. Minho waited for his moment. When Krex overextended on a heavy swing, Minho struck. Not at Krex's armored chest or head. At his knee, the joint between scales. The weak point, Krex fell. Before he could recover, Minho was on him, blade at his throat. "Victory. Impossible," Krex whispered. "You should not have won." "You are right," Minho said. "I should not have. I am weaker, slower, less experienced. But I wanted to live more than you wanted to win." That made all the difference. "Finish it," Krex said. "Kill me with honor." "No," Minho replied. "You do not deserve an honorable death. You invaded my world. You killed billions of my people. You voted to enslave us. You deserve to live with that shame. Stand up." Krex stood, confused. Minho pointed to the cameras broadcasting to the galaxy. "Tell them," Minho commanded. "Tell them what you did. Tell them you were wrong." General Krex, the greatest warrior of the Drakkar, stood before the galaxy and spoke the hardest words of his life. "We were wrong. We should have left Earth alone. Humanity proved stronger than we imagined, not in weapons, not in ships, but in will, in determination, in their refusal to surrender. They deserve victory. We deserve defeat." His fleet surrendered. The Drakkar, who had never known defeat, laid down their weapons. Across the galaxy, species watched and understood. Earth was not weak. Earth was not primitive. Earth was the most dangerous thing in the universe, desperate and angry. Ambassador Sejin, who had been working behind the scenes for years, made his move. He called for a vote in the Galactic Council, not to enslave anyone, not to conquer anything, simply to dissolve the council itself. The council that voted to enslave Earth, Sejin said calmly, no longer exists. You are broken, divided, afraid. You cannot protect your people. You cannot even protect yourselves. This council has failed. Let it die. Species began leaving, first one, then 5, then 20. Within hours, the 847 species coalition was gone. The Galactic Council, which had ruled for 10,000 years, collapsed in a single day. High Arbiter Vex sat alone in the empty council chamber. His civilization was in ruins. His authority was gone. Everything he built was destroyed. And it was all because of one terrible decision: voting to enslave Earth. He sent a message to Admiral Minho, one last communication. Please stop. We surrender. We admit we were wrong. Just stop the attacks. Stop the destruction. We are begging you, Minho read the message. Around him, his commanders waited for orders. They could finish this. They could destroy every council world. They could make the galaxy pay for every human death. They had the power. They had the right. Dr. Hana entered the command center. She looked exhausted. 5 years of war had aged her 20. She walked to Minho's side and looked at the message. They are begging, she said quietly, just like you wanted. The question is, what do we do now? Do we show mercy, or do we become exactly what they were? Minho stared at the screen for a long time. He thought about his parents who died in the first wave. He thought about the billions of humans who would never see peace. He thought about revenge, about justice, about the difference between the two. Finally, he spoke. Bring High Arbiter Vex to me. We are going to have a trial. The whole galaxy will watch, and they will see what real justice looks like. The tribunal chamber was built in orbit above Earth, a massive structure made of steel and glass visible from the surface. Every species in the galaxy could watch through broadcasted feeds. This was not just a trial. It was a message. High Arbiter Vex was brought in wearing simple restraints. No guards needed to force him forward. He walked on his own, his crystalline body dimmed and cracked. He had aged decades in just a few years. The weight of failure had broken him. Admiral Minho sat at the judge's bench. Beside him were representatives from Earth's government. Dr. Hana was there too, though she did not want to be. She had argued against this public spectacle, but Minho insisted. The galaxy needed to see. Vex stood in the center of the chamber. Behind him, screens showed the ruins of Earth's cities. Seoul before the invasion. Bright, alive, full of millions of people. Seoul after, smoking craters and broken buildings. The same images repeated for Tokyo, New York, London, Mumbai. Every major city, every lost life. High Arbiter Vex, Minho began. You led the Galactic Council when they voted to enslave Earth. All 847 species agreed. You called us primitive. You called us weak. You said we would serve. How do you plead? Vex looked up at the screen showing Earth's destruction. Then he looked at Minho. Guilty, he said simply. I am guilty of everything. I judged your species without understanding. I feared what you might become. That fear made me cruel. I am responsible for billions of deaths. If you want to execute me, I will not resist. The chamber was silent. Across the galaxy, billions watched and waited. What would humanity do? Would they show mercy or vengeance? Minho leaned forward. Tell me why. Why did you vote for this? What did we do to deserve enslavement? Vex's voice was quiet. You did nothing. That was the problem. You were new to space, young, curious, and you were learning too fast. When we first detected your signal, we studied you. We watched you develop faster than light travel in just 50 years. Technology that took us centuries. We saw your potential, and we were afraid. Afraid of what? Minho asked. Of change, Vex replied. The council had ruled for 10,000 years. We were comfortable, stable, set in our ways. Then you appeared. So different. So adaptable. So dangerous. We feared you would disrupt everything. So we decided to stop you before you could threaten us. Dr. Hana spoke up from her seat. So you attacked us not because we were evil, not because we threatened you, but because you were comfortable and we were not. You destroyed billions of lives to maintain your power, Vex nodded. Yes, and I was wrong. Completely, terribly wrong. You proved that we were the evil ones. Not you. The trial continued for hours. Other council members were brought forward. The queen of the Netheri hive, broken and humiliated. The leaders of species that helped invade Earth. One by one, they admitted their guilt. One by one, they begged for mercy. Captain Jiwan sat in the observation gallery. She watched the aliens plead and cry. She thought about her parents, about the moment her world ended. She wanted to feel satisfied, to feel that justice was being served. But instead she felt empty. Revenge was supposed to feel good. It was supposed to heal the pain. But watching these broken creatures beg did not bring her parents back. It did not rebuild soul. It just made her tired. After the final testimony, Minho called for a recess. The tribunal would reconvene the next day for sentencing. Until then, everyone needed time to think. That night, Dr. Hana found Minho standing alone on the observation deck. He was staring at Earth below. The planet was slowly healing. New buildings rose from the ruins. Forests grew where cities once burned. Life was returning. What will you decide tomorrow? Hana asked. Minho did not turn around. I do not know yet. Part of me wants to execute them all. Show the galaxy what happens when you attack humanity. Make sure no one ever tries again. And the other part? Hana asked. The other part remembers why we sent that first message into space. We wanted to meet others, to learn, to be part of something bigger. If I execute them all, we lose that chance forever. We become the monsters they thought we were. Hana moved to stand beside him. I have been thinking about something. We won the war. We proved we are strong. But what defines us now is not our strength. It is what we choose to do with it. The galaxy expects us to be cruel, Minho said. They expect revenge, then surprise them, Hana replied. Show them we are better than that. Show them what humanity really is. Before Minho could respond, alarms blared. Security rushed onto the deck. There has been an attack, an officer reported. A group of surviving council loyalists tried to strike Earth. They failed, but they made their message clear. They will never stop fighting. How many ships? Minho asked. 30. We destroyed them all in minutes. But sir, they broadcast a message. They said they would rather die than live under human rule. They called us tyrants. Minho felt something cold settle in his chest. Tyrants. The same word the council once used to justify enslaving Earth. The cycle was repeating. If he continued down this path, humanity would become exactly what they fought against. He turned to Hana. You are right. We need to break this cycle. Tomorrow I will announce my decision, and I hope the galaxy is ready to learn what real strength looks like. The next day, the tribunal chamber was packed. Every seat filled. Every camera recording. High Arbiter Vex stood in the center once more, awaiting his fate. Behind him, dozens of other council members waited in line. All guilty. All expecting death. Admiral Minho stood. The chamber fell silent. This trial has shown us many things, he began. It showed us the council's crimes. It showed us their fear. It showed us that even the mighty can fall. But most importantly, it showed us a choice. We can become conquerors, oppressors, everything we fought against. Or we can become something better. He looked directly at Vex. High Arbiter Vex, you voted to enslave my species. You destroyed our cities. You killed billions of our people. By every measure of justice, you deserve death. But death is easy. Death ends your suffering. I want something harder from you. Vex waited, trembling. I want you to live, Minho said. I want you to help rebuild what you destroyed. You will work alongside humans to restore our cities. You will use your knowledge to help heal our world. You will spend the rest of your life making amends. Not as a slave, as a volunteer. Because you choose to be better. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Across the galaxy, viewers could not believe what they heard. Mercy? For the architect of Earth's suffering? This applies to all of you. Minho continued, addressing the other council members. You will not be executed. You will not be enslaved. You will be given a chance to prove you can change, to prove that beings can learn from their mistakes. Some of you will refuse. Some of you will try to attack us again. That is your choice. But know this. Humanity is offering something the council never did. A second chance. Vex fell to his knees. Tears, if crystalline beings could cry, streamed down his face. Why? He whispered. Why would you show us mercy after everything we did? Minho walked down from the judge's bench and stood before Vex. Because we are not like you. You feared what we might become. You were right to fear us. But not because we are monsters. Because we refuse to be. We choose to be better. And that High Arbiter is what makes humanity truly dangerous. We break cycles. We change rules. We refuse to let hatred define us. He extended his hand to Vex. Now get up. You have work to do. Vex looked at the offered hand. Then he took it. And for the first time in galactic history, a conqueror helped his enemy stand. In the observation gallery, Captain Jiwan watched with tears in her eyes. Not tears of pain, tears of relief. The cycle was broken. Her parents would never return. Sol would never be the same. But maybe, just maybe, no other species would have to suffer as they did. Ambassador Sajin smiled. This was what he had hoped for 7 years ago, when he sent humanity's first message to the stars. Not conquest, not revenge, connection, understanding, a chance to build something better. Dr. Hana closed her eyes and let out a breath she had been holding for years. It was done. Humanity had won not by becoming monsters, but by refusing to. They had proven that strength and mercy were not opposites. They were partners. The galaxy watched and learned. Earth had defeated 847 species, not through cruelty, not through oppression, but through something far more powerful, the choice to be better than their enemies. And in that moment, humanity became something more than conquerors. They became leaders. Not through force, but through example. The war was over. Now came the hard part, building peace. 10 years had passed since the trial. Earth had changed. The scars of war remained, but they were healing. New cities rose where old ones fell. Parks grew where battlefields once burned. Children played in streets that had been silent for years. Life had returned. But the biggest change was not on Earth, it was across the galaxy. Where once the Galactic Council ruled with fear and power, a new organization had formed. They called it the Galactic Commonwealth, and this time it was built on different principles. Ambassador Sajin stood at the center of the Commonwealth Assembly. Around him sat representatives from hundreds of species, not 847. Many had refused to join, but those who came did so willingly. They came because they saw what humanity offered, a chance to be equals. Today we vote on the Commonwealth Charter, Sajin announced. This document guarantees rights to all species. No enslavement, no conquest without cause. Every voice matters. Every member has power. This is not the old council. This is something new, something better. The vote was taken. It passed unanimously. The Commonwealth was officially established. Not through force, through choice. After the vote, Sajin walked through the Commonwealth headquarters. It was built on neutral ground, a space station between Earth and Taylor Prime. Symbolic. Former enemies working together to build something new. He passed a window and stopped. Outside, he saw work crews repairing damaged ships. Humans and aliens working side by side, talking, laughing, learning from each other. It was what he had dreamed of 10 years ago. Before the war, before everything went wrong. We finally made it, a voice said behind him. Dr. Hana had arrived, looking healthier than she had in years. The war had aged her, but peace was healing those wounds. Your dream came true, just not the way you expected. Sajin smiled sadly. No, not the way I expected at all. I wanted first contact to be beautiful. Instead, it was terrible. We lost so much, but we gained something too, Hana replied. We learned what we are capable of. Both the darkness and the light. And we chose the light. That matters. They walked together through the station. Hana showed him her new laboratory. Instead of developing weapons, she was working on medical technology, sharing human knowledge with alien scientists. Together, they were curing diseases that had plagued civilizations for centuries. This is what I wanted to do from the beginning, Hana said. Use my knowledge to help people, not hurt them. I am glad those days are over. Across the galaxy, on a reconstructed Tellurian city, High Arbiter Vex worked in the construction yards. He was no longer High Arbiter. He was just Vex now, an old alien helping to rebuild what he had helped destroy. Every day he worked alongside humans. At first it was difficult. They did not trust him. Why would they? He had voted to enslave them. But slowly over years that changed. They saw him work. They saw him try. They saw him change. A young human engineer approached him. Her name was Yuri. She was born after the war. She had no memory of the invasion. To her, Vex was just an old alien who told interesting stories about the past. Vex, can you teach me about crystalline construction? Yuri asked. I want to learn your techniques. Vex felt something break inside him. Not pain, relief. This young human did not see him as a monster. She saw him as a teacher. It was more than he deserved. Of course, he said. I would be honored. As he taught her, he thought about the past, about the vote, about his fear and pride. He had been so certain that humans would destroy everything. Instead, they had saved it, and they had given him a chance to be part of that salvation. On Earth, in the rebuilt city of Seoul, Captain Ji-won ran a training academy, but not a military academy, a peace academy. Young people from across the galaxy came to learn leadership, diplomacy, and conflict resolution. They learned how to solve problems without war. Among her students were children of species that had invaded Earth: Drakkar, Nethari, Tellurian. They studied alongside human children. They learned together. They became friends. Ji-won watched them train. She remembered when the only thing she wanted was revenge, when hatred consumed her. But time and peace had changed her. She still missed her parents every day, but she found purpose in making sure no other child would lose their parents the way she did. One of her students, a young Drakkar named Kree, approached her after class. He was the son of General Krex, who died years ago from his wounds. Kree did not remember his father well, but he knew the stories. He knew what his father had done. Captain Ji-won, Kree said hesitantly, my father killed your parents. I know I cannot undo that, but I want to be better than he was. I want to help build peace, not war. Ji-won looked at him. She saw a young person trying to escape his father's shadow, trying to be better. It reminded her of humanity's journey. You are not your father, she said gently. You are yourself. And from what I see, you are already better than he was. Keep learning. Keep growing. The galaxy needs people like you. Kree smiled with relief. Thank you. I will not disappoint you. In a quiet park on Earth, Admiral Minho sat on a bench feeding birds. He was retired now. The war was over. His duty was done. He had given everything to protect humanity. Now he could finally rest. Someone sat beside him. It was Vex. The old Tellurian was on Earth visiting construction sites. He had heard Minho was here. He wanted to say something he had been trying to say for 10 years. Admiral Minho, Vex began. Just Minho now, the human replied. I am not an admiral anymore. Just an old man feeding birds, Vex nodded. Minho then. I wanted to thank you for sparing me, for giving me a chance to make amends. I know I can never undo what I did, but you let me try. That is more than I deserved. Minho continued feeding the birds. Do you know why I spared you? To prove humanity was better than us, Vex replied. Partially, Minho said, but mostly because I was tired. Tired of fighting, tired of killing, tired of hatred. I wanted to see if the galaxy could change, if beings who hated each other could learn to work together. You proved it could happen. So did your people. So did everyone who chose to join the Commonwealth. Vex was quiet for a moment. You were right to be afraid of us. We were everything you feared. Arrogant, cruel, closed-minded. But you showed us something better. You showed us what strength really means. Not weapons or power, but the courage to choose mercy when vengeance would be easier. They sat in silence watching the birds. Former enemies, now something like friends. It was not perfect. The wounds were still there, but they were healing. Slowly. Together. 50 years later, a new generation gathered at the Monument of Unity. It was built on the exact spot where the first invasion began. Where Seoul once burned, now it stood as a symbol of what could be overcome. The monument showed statues of the people who changed everything. Admiral Minho standing strong, Dr. Hana holding a symbol of peace, Captain Ji-won looking toward the future, Ambassador Sejin with arms outstretched in welcome, and beside them, smaller but equal, High Arbiter Vex, head bowed in acknowledgement of past wrongs. Children of all species played around the monument. They did not see different aliens. They saw friends. They learned in school about the war, about the vote that almost destroyed everything, about how humanity responded not with endless vengeance but with a choice to build something better. An old Tellurian, barely able to stand, placed flowers at the base of Minho's statue. It was Vex, ancient now, nearly at the end of his long life. He whispered words only the statue could hear. You were right. This is what you truly are. Not conquerors, not monsters, builders, healers. Hope. A young human girl descended from Jiwan approached him. "Are you okay, Elder? Can I help you?" Vex smiled at her. "I am fine, child. Just remembering. Do you know what this monument means?" She nodded. "It means we can always choose to be better, no matter how bad things get. We can always choose to build instead of destroy." Vex felt tears in his eyes. "Yes, exactly that. Remember it always." As the sun set over the monument, light reflected off the central inscription. Words that summed up everything that happened, everything that changed, everything that humanity proved possible. The inscription read, "Every species voted to enslave Earth. Earth voted to free them all. The galaxy learned its lesson." Not through textbooks or lectures, but through lived experience. Through seeing what humanity did when given absolute power. They did not abuse it. They did not repeat the cycle. They broke it. And in breaking that cycle, they showed the universe something it had never seen before. True strength. Not the strength to destroy enemies, but the strength to transform them into allies. The strength to choose mercy when vengeance would be easier. The strength to build when it would be simpler to tear down. Humanity had been tested. They faced extinction. They faced enslavement. They faced hatred from 847 species. And they responded by showing the galaxy what it meant to be human. Not by being perfect, not by being saints, but by being people who, when given the choice between darkness and light, chose light, even when darkness would have been justified. Even when no one would have blamed them for choosing revenge, the Commonwealth thrived. Species that once tried to destroy each other now worked together. They explored new worlds. They solved old problems. They built a future where no one had to fear enslavement, where every voice mattered, where strength meant protecting the weak, not exploiting them. And it all started with a simple message sent into space. A message that said, "We are here, we are peaceful,